everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon, and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. In today's video, I want to tell you 5 things I learned from being in a toxic marriage. Now, in my case, my ex is a narcissist, but this could be for any toxic marriage, any toxic relationship. You know what? Actually, this is just good life advice in general. But if you are somebody who is not married yet, if you get this, if you hear this advice and you implement it in a worst case scenario, you will save yourself unendurable agony. Just when you are with the wrong person, it can go so terribly wrong. If you can save yourself ahead of time, so many people, we don't go into these marriages prepared. I heard somebody say one time, and this was so obvious, but nothing that I ever consciously thought, but I'm going to hopefully have you consciously think about this. If the person that you marry, almost nothing in your life is going to affect your future like the person you marry. Everything is tied up into that person. Your future happiness, your security, your mental well-being, your financial well-being, everything. Now, I'm not saying that your spouse is responsible for providing all of this for you, but they're an integral part. And if they don't pull their weight, if they don't do what you're expecting them to do, if they turn out to be bad news, you're going to be in a really bad situation. And I would, at all costs, try to avoid that if I were you. And that's the whole basis of my channel. I try to help people. I didn't know anything about narcissism, and all of a sudden I was living in hell. So I try to tell people things that happened to me, things that I learned along the way that will help you. I try to tell you on my channel how the world really works. So let me go ahead and get into this, the first one. So the first thing that I learned is don't lose yourself in your role, quote unquote, role in the marriage. I'm a very deliberate person. I'm an intentional person. I think the best way for me to say this is I have standards for myself, the way I want to act, the things I want to do, what I want to benefit, how I want to benefit the world. Now, I do things wrong, of course, and I have my days, but I do think this. I'm conscious of it. And when I got married, I was very conscious and deliberate. I wanted to be a good wife. I wasn't going into the marriage thinking, all right, now, he can do all these things for me. I wanted to serve him as a wife, and what I mean by that is I wanted to be a good wife. I wanted to love him and take care of him. And, I think this is the way that I can say it. And I try to do this in my life even now. When I love taking care of the people I love, right? I love taking care of my family. And I try to look at life as, to the most part, the best of my ability. Every day is someone's birthday, right? So like every day I try to treat Joe like every day is his birthday, every day, because if it was really his birthday, I would be doing something nice for him, going out of my way, trying to, make the day extra special. I try to do that anyways. Every day is Joe's birthday. Every day is my kid's birthday. I don't need to have like a set aside day because every day is that way. So I tried to do that with my ex. I tried to be good to him, and I was good to him, and I know I was good to him. And that's part of the pain that I suffer through now, by the way, in the recovery is I know what I put into that. I know I didn't deserve what happened. None of us deserve these bad things happening to us. But when I think back to some of the things, I wish I had done differently. I wanted to be a good, forgiving, biblical wife so badly that when my ex did horrendous things, I forgave him and patted myself on the back. Now, this is ridiculous. I'm so horrified that I did this. I can feel it in my stomach when I'm telling you this. Now, this happened twice, but this is an example of what I'm talking about. Twice, my ex charged credit cards up to $100,000, and he also stole money from our kids. So this is a side. This is just like a little side thing, little bonus here. Throw this in for free. Don't let your spouse, no matter how great they are, have full control of finances where you don't know what's going on in your own finances, where they just tell you. Make sure that you really know. So my ex did all the finances. That was a big mistake. So he was taking money from my kid's account to pay the credit card bill. So I had no idea. I didn't know this was going on. I didn't realize he had gone to P.O. box to get the bills. It was a whole elaborate thing. I didn't know. This happened twice. So the first time this happened and he confessed it to me, he cried to his parents, and his parents gave him money. They sent him overnight over $100,000, to cover these bills. It happened again. Now, the second time it happened, my ex woke me up in the middle of the night and, Sharon, we don't have any money. We have no money. How much money do you have in your purse? And can you imagine waking up like that? What are you talking about? We have no money. And I'm living in this house in the suburbs with my two children, and I'm a stay-at-home wife. And I thought my ex had a good job at a bank in Boston, but no, apparently not. So I had no idea. And he's telling me we only had the $25 I happen to have in my purse was the only money I had to feed my kids. My ex, his plan was, now he had to tell me because he had taken all the kids' money. He had no more money. We only had literally what I had in my purse, which happened to be $25. So his plan was same thing as last time, call mommy and daddy, have them rescue him, and then life can go on as usual. And, he was so sorry and he felt so bad. Well, mommy and daddy did it again. They gave him this money. And then, he apologized, told me he was sorry. And, he was just under so much pressure. He didn't want to upset me, of course. It was all, he was worried about me. So when he woke me up in the middle of the night and almost gave me a heart attack, he was worried about me, right? He was worried about me. I forgave him. I forgave him genuinely. And then I patted myself on the back because I thought I was being a good Christian wife. I'm so horrified that I did that. I wish that I hadn't. What I should have done was realize, okay, you know what? This is the situation. This is not a good situation. This is who I'm with. And then figured out what to do from there. I've mentioned this in a video recently, and this is so important to do in your life. He said that people look through life in a straw, as like looking through a straw, right? So you're looking at something, you can only see a section of what you're looking at. God sees the whole picture, right? When you're in these talks, when you're in a marriage, in life, just in everywhere, make sure you are not just looking through a straw hole. Make sure you see the whole picture. I'm not saying you would be as ridiculous as I was, but this is really important. This is who I was. So I'm making decisions, and this is my core personality. Okay, I'm a wife. This is what I do as a wife, and okay, I'm a citizen. When I'm at the red light, I stop. This is what I do. I had these rules, and I was very rigid with the rules, and they were hurting me, and they were hurting my kids, and I was so into being this good wife. They didn't realize that I was being treated horrifically. My kids were being treated horribly. I shouldn't have forgiven him. Number 2 and 3 go together because they're kind of opposites of each other. Evil is real, but God exists. Now, of course, God is all goodness, so we wouldn't know God was good without there being something to compare it to, right? So evil would have to exist just in that sense, or we wouldn't know what good is. But evil is real. It is real. Evil is real. So is God. I had experiences at my house, supernatural experiences. I have had God literally, I'm thinking, let me just backtrack a second here. I tried to make this video last Friday. I wanted to make a video about when God came to me. I had a little bit of a unique experience. I think it's unique. I did not grow up religious. I didn't have God in my life, so this was not something I ever had. In 2016, God suddenly showed up in my life. Now, I always believed in God, but he showed up and he spoke to me, and amazing, miraculous things happened. So I'm going to be going for everything I'm talking about in today's video. I'm going to elaborate on in another video, but just for this video, evil, it is real. It exists. I mean, just look at our world. That it's not, and it's not just that I know everybody knows there are bad people. I know Hitler, he's bad, right? Jeffrey Dahmer, bad, evil. You could say that. And of course that is true. But everyday people can be evil too. Your spouse can be evil. Your kids can be evil. I'm not trying to be paranoid to say that they are, but they could be. So it's real. It exists. It's, it's here. But so is God. I know God is real because I literally had miracles happen to me. God spoke to me. I wasn't hallucinating, but God spoke to me. But for this video, evil is real, right? Don't lose yourself in a role. Just accept evil is real. So is God. Number 4, never put yourself in the position, and this is especially for a female, but it can be for a male too. Never put yourself in the position where you are fully dependent on another person. Because when you choose the wrong person, they're not going to turn into the person. Let me put it this way. when you choose the wrong person, right? If you choose somebody like I did and you think that they're one way and they turn out to be completely opposite of how you thought that they were, in the worst possible moments when you need them the most, they're not going to turn into the person that you really need them to be. This is a huge problem. And if you're fully dependent on them, they're going to have control over your life. And you do not obviously want somebody that does not have your best interests at heart, which a toxic individual does not. They have their best interests at heart. If you go down, you go down. They'll always save themselves. Always. I basically had to buy my son from my ex. I mean, these are the people that you're dealing with. So you put yourself in a position, just, and they have full control over you. And this is a problem. I know many of you listening to me right now have this problem. That was exactly the problem that I had too. When you were financially dependent on a man, that is a bad situation to be in if something goes wrong. So and you know what? I actually think it's great. I love being a stay-at-home mom. It was fantastic. If you want to do it, I recommend it. However, you need to make sure that you have something, your own bank account. Even if, and I think this, if I think any husband should be happy to do this. If you tell your husband, because he should want his wife to feel secure and be financially secure. That's part of, what his role would be. Make sure you know that he needs to make sure you feel safe, right, and secure. If you say, I need my own bank account, and you put in money, whatever it is, $100 a month, $10 a month, whatever it is, just so you have something that's just yours. He knows you have it. You don't have to hide it from him because he wants to make sure he can take care of you. But if you're with the wrong person and they have an issue with this, then I would hide it from them. You need to have something of your own. Do not let them have everything. Make sure you are smart about finances. Make sure you have yourself protected in a worst case scenario because they happen. And if you can prepare ahead, and I hope you don't ever need this. I hope you can just one day have this money and be like, you know what, I have $10,000 in my bank account. It's all mine. I can do whatever I want with it. My husband's fantastic. I never needed it. I'm going on a shopping spree. I'm going on a trip. Do that. Fine. That's great. And I hope that happens. But preparing just in case, it's such a little thing that you could do to give yourself peace of mind. And it also tell you a little bit about your husband too, or wife, what they think if you tell them that you want to do this. Number 5, not everyone is you. I believed. So, it wasn't even something I consciously thought of. It just was. When I remember thinking when I was pregnant with my daughter, I thought, I know somebody who died in childbirth. And so it was a real thing to me. And I can remember when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was worried, not overly worried, but I knew it could happen. So, I told my ex to, that if something happened to choose Paris over me. And, my ex told me, he's like, oh, I couldn't do that. I'd have to choose you because I couldn't live without you. We could have another baby. And I was annoyed with him, but also part of me was like, oh, that's so romantic. And I thought, yes, he loves me that much. And I believed it. I wanted to believe that he loved me that much. And the reality is, when you're with a toxic individual, they're not like you. I assumed my ex cared about the kids the way that I do. I assumed my ex loved me. I assumed my ex was paying bills when he said he was paying bills. Not everyone is you. And going through life thinking that and it's natural. I think I still do it to a degree. Everybody does. I basically assume people are kind, even though I do fully know that evil's in the world and I accept that. But I do think that. But if somebody shows me otherwise, now I know. I mean, think about what a narcissist or a toxic individual is capable of. When I think, just going back to that money issue with my ex, he was capable of stealing from his children. He did that. He was capable of that, right? So someone's cheating. They're capable of doing this. They don't have standards. Not everybody is you. Not everybody is me. And it's important to know that. And everybody is going to put out their best side, right? But when you know somebody long enough, and when you're with somebody long enough, and we're talking about relationships here, you'll start to see things. And when you see things, don't necessarily put it as a one-off. Think to yourself, all right, you know what? Just be aware. Make sure, essentially what I'm trying to say, take care of yourself. Make sure that you're not looking just through a straw. Make sure you see the full picture, and make sure when you're going into a marriage, especially, remember, this is probably the most important thing you'll ever do in your life. Make sure you get it right. Now, I have a little bonus thing at the end. This is just because I feel so strongly about this, and I know that there are people listening that are not at the beginning, that are involved. They're already married. They don't know what they're going to do. They're in an unendurable nightmare. I believe most people can get out. I know that there are situations where people can't, but I want to give you hope today. And I'm telling you from my own experience, this happened to me. I know it can happen. When God came into my life, He came into my life in 2016. That changed everything. It started the process it was the beginning of the end of my marriage, essentially. But it took 5 years for me to get out. 5 years from there. It was day after day after day, month after month after month of following just these promptings I would get from God. It's a long process, but my point really here is to tell you it might be a long process, but I cannot tell you strongly enough. Get right with God. Get right with God. Ask Him to help you. And little things that you would never think would be important can be. You never know. Just look for opportunities. Just, I didn't even know I was doing this. I was listening to the Holy Spirit without even knowing I was doing it. If you follow that inner voice, you could be so surprised with something that could happen. Do not give up. You never know. Bad news comes, right? We all know bad news comes quickly. Good news can come quickly too. You never know. Every day brings you an opportunity for something really good to happen. Please don't give up hope. There is always hope. I told you, right? Number 3, God is real. I know He's real. I know He can save everybody. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to do videos every Friday. So please watch my video. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great weekend. I will see you guys next week. And I guess that's it. Bye, everybody.